Sonia,
Yes.
you know what month it is, right?
No, what month is it?
It's National Rosacea Awareness Month. So
It's really great for rosacea sensitive skin.
And I'm somebody who's really reactive with rosacea.
So when we're first talking about rosacea in general, we're really looking at what in the skin?
we gotta talk about it.
Well, what would you use to treat rosacea?
Okay, first of all, my trio for rosacea is gonna be aloe and calendula calming mist, Chronocalm serum, and then Rose Ease relief cream. So these are going to be really awesome if you do suffer from rosacea. These are going to help to treat the redness, help to treat inflammation, sensitivity in the skin, and you can actually mix your Chronocalm and your aloe and calendula calming mist to help make your product spread a little bit easier and last longer.
This wouldn't be too stimulating for rosacea or sensitive skin.
You know, it's really great for rosacea sensitive skin. But again, if you're looking at different grades of rosacea, I mean, there's a number of different subtypes. There's 4 different subtypes of rosacea. Subtype 3 would probably be the top end that you see, but within subtype 2, you have a pretty broad range of diffuse redness and what we would call papules and pustulars. In fact, subtype 2 is called papulopustular rosacea. So you just have to be wary of how extreme that subtype 2. If it's at the very top end, they may experience some discomfort, but even water can be discomforting for clients that are experiencing that level of severity of rosacea.
As a solo, it's hard to find a brand that can kind of cater to everybody, and their products really do. And I'm somebody who's really reactive with rosacea, so it's hard to find a whole line and brand that you can use everything in. And I've tried everything, and I never had any issues, and everything works really well. And their professional treatments too, just are beyond amazing. Like after one, you see a difference. Even just a facial, like a superficial facial, I see a difference with their products. So they're amazing.
That's awesome.
So I made the right decision on that one. Personally, just for me, because I have rosacea, it's going to be the Chronocalm and the Rose Ease relief cream, because those work amazing for my skin. But I'm in love with everything. But I think for my clients, again, because I deal with more like pigmentation issues and anti-aging, definitely like the Bright White serum they love. It's super lightweight, but it really targets those pigment. And then I'd have to say the Myocyte Plus, because everybody's looking for that like Botox without Botox, right?
Yeah.
So that one's amazing too.
So when we're first talking about rosacea in general, we're really looking at what in the skin?
An inflammatory response due to an overpopulation of a little facial mite that we all have, and if you want to be fun and sciencey, it's the Demodex follicularum facial mite.
Which is a mite we all have on our skin, right? Which is probably something that we don't want to know, but those who suffer from rosacea have a higher population of the mite and more of a sensitivity to their byproducts. When we look at somebody who's sensitive or who has a compromised barrier, what are we looking at that's different than rosacea?
So with someone who's presenting with a compromised barrier, we're not going to see the localized redness or erythema around the nose and cheeks. We're going to see a systemic redness and typically pretty dry profile as well, because they're unable to really retain a lot of that moisture, so they have advanced rates of transepidermal water loss.
We have 2 different cleanser options for rosacea. Would you recommend using these both AM and PM, or would you recommend one for day and one for night?
That's such a great question, because it can go either way. For a client who has a little more disruption to their barrier, you may start with vitamin veil only until their barrier's a little bit healthier. But if their barrier's pretty good and they just need a little management for those rosacea areas, usually nose and cheek, then you can do vitamin veil following with lipid replacing cleansing gel. In general though, if the clientele is a little bit more mature, they tend to love the vitamin veil and the little veil of vitamins, the emolliency left behind, which really helps to protect the skin. But for younger clientele that may be struggling with rosacea, they tend to like a little more of that clean, I hate to say the word squeaky clean, because we all know that's not so good, but lipid replacing cleansing gel will give them that really nice thorough cleansed feel without disrupting the barrier, so you're not going to be making the problem worse.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing to note with both of the options for cleansers with Circadia for rosacea. Both of them are going to keep the integrity of the barrier in place and help to fortify it versus stripping it or breaking it down. So both of these are going to be wonderful options.
I think it's really important to note that a lot of our rosacea clientele tend to be heavy makeup wearers because they're trying to cover that redness that they haven't been able to find a true solution for. And so the vitamin veil is gonna really grip onto that makeup, oil, dirt, debris within the skin so we can remove it. A big part of a rosacea client's problem is that they're typically not cleansing thoroughly enough because their skin doesn't usually feel good after. So this is gonna be a really beautiful solution for them.
The next step in both your AM and your PM regimen is going to be the Aloe and Calendula Calming Mist. So this mist is one of my favorite products within the collection for sensitive and rosacea skin because it has the same purity and potency as your traditional serums do, but it's just in a really nice misting application. So you can apply this more than twice a day, really. You can apply it multiple times throughout the day, and it has really good healing, calming, hydrating properties to it. And especially in the evening with your circadian rhythms, you have an increase in heat in the evening. So using the aloe mist to have that nice hydrating misting application is really good for rosacea.
You know what I love too? A lot of times with rosacea, clients, their little cheekies get so warm and hot. So if you pop your aloe and calendula mist in the fridge, chef's kiss.
Yes.
Just so calming, refreshing. With rosacea clients and the barrier being disrupted, a lot of the vitamin C's that are currently on the market are formulated with a pH that's a little too low. And that can cause surface redness, irritation, stinging sensation, and for those whose barrier are very compromised, it's going to result in even a little topical chemical burn. And so with our vitamin C, it's in a hyaluronic acid base, so it's gonna be very hydrating, and we utilize magnesium ascorbate phosphate. So this is a very, very stable form of vitamin C. It'll never oxidize, and the beautiful part is because of that magnesium and that phosphate and the hyaluronic acid base, it raises the pH to be a very neutral, right about 7, which is the same pH as water. So this is going to be incredibly tolerable for your clientele while helping to really get the integrity back into their skin.
I would say this is probably the #1 product for rosacea. So again, as Chris mentioned, you can see it's this really crystal clear consistency. It won't ever oxidize, and then it goes on really clear and it absorbs really nicely into the skin almost immediately. So
the other beautiful thing is the post-peel balm. I think is one of the most beautiful bases for makeup as well because it gives you that little bit of extra smoothing. And as you can tell, we are just having the best time here. No pilling up, no greasy, especially if we're talking about sensitive or rosacea clientele with a disrupted barrier. This is gonna help to be almost their barrier until their own natural barrier is fully repaired.
Agree. This is where all of those heavy hitter reduction in redness and calming agents and peptides and ingredients are going to be in. So you can take either one of these cleansers and you can use them in the evening as well. And then again, you're always going to want to use your aloe and calendula calming mist multiple times a day, but definitely AM routine and PM routine. So you'll cleanse with one of your either vitamin veil cleanser or lipid replacing cleansing gel, your aloe mist, and then the ChronoCalm. I'll let Chris talk a little about ChronoCalm because she says she has 3 favorite products, but secretly I think this is like #1 on your roster.
It switches, it'll probably change as we talk about other regimens. But we are in a committed relationship, ChronoCalm and I. This is such a beautiful, beautiful product to really work on the inflammatory state of the skin. And the way that it calms down redness and nourishes your natural immunity for your skin, which is really your Langerhans cells. So we have oat beta-glucan in here, which is what the Langerhans cells feed off of. It's what they need to eat, nom nom nom. And those cells are a dendritic cell down in the deeper layer of your skin, and they're responsible for getting rid of environmental pollution, bacteria, infection. So this is gonna help to really restore the health and integrity to the skin from within. And it's such a beautiful anti-redness agent as well, whether you have rosacea and you have redness from that, or whether you have redness from just disrupted barrier or doing something crazy you saw on TikTok or the internet. Don't trust TikTok.
It happens. So the anti-redness ingredient in here that Chris is talking about, it's a peptide called telangian, and it's actually the #1 anti-redness peptide on the market. So you'll also see with this, it is a little bit cloudier of a consistency than the vitamin C reversal serum, but it does still have that same hyaluronic acid base. So it's incredibly hydrating. It has the amazing anti-redness peptide in here. The oat beta-glucan, as you mentioned, and Dr. Pugliese is our founder and formulator, and he was actually doing some clinical work on beta-glucan, and he applied topical beta-glucan to the skin, and he actually visibly saw the Langerhans cells reaching up to grab the beta-glucan. So it's incredibly helpful and beneficial for the compromised skin and helping with the immune support.
Of course, after they do their ChronoCalm, my other love of my, see, it's already happened, my other love of my life, Tranquility Cream. This is your bread and butter. This is another one of your very powerful agents for rosacea, and this is gonna be your nourishing cream for night. Nice and creamy. It feels so comforting, and a big piece of sensitive, sensitized, reactive, and rosacea skin is there's so much discomfort, and we have a beautiful ingredient in here called Delisense. Did I say it right? Delisense? Delisense, which helps to really calm down those sensitized receptors and calm down that pain response.
Which is also great for the evening when some of those receptors are at their heights. Now, the difference between your sensitive skin and a true subtype rosacea, everything is really going to stay the same as far as your regimen. We're just adding in one additional product, and this is the Rosie's Relief Cream. Now, Dr. Pugliese, again, who is our amazing founder and formulator, he was doing extensive research on the Demodex mite that Chris had mentioned before, and how we can decrease or eliminate the population. So through his research, he found a proprietary blend of different essential oils that was actually designed to asphyxiate this mite. So he took all of the research that he was doing and he put it into a lovely retail cream that can be applied as a treatment cream. So this is going to help to decrease or eliminate the population of the mite, so we can actually address the underlying inflammatory components of this particular skin condition. This has a really strong rosemary extract in it, which you would think rosemary can be slightly stimulating, so that's why we only suggest to use this a couple of times a week to get started. So you would want to apply it every other day, making sure that your skin can adapt to it, and it's going to be a PM application only.
And when we say PM application with this and target treating, you're gonna really be targeting those areas where you see those red flares and our traditional rosacea flares happening at. And just as a fun fact, that Demodex mite feeds on oil, which is why we tend to see these flares in the high oil production places around the nose, the little cheeks, and sometimes forehead or chin, because those are our highest oil production areas. I must say, men fall in love with this cream. I have some clients whose the woman has rosacea and uses this, and the men just full force their whole face with it because it has such a nice, almost woodsy scent to it, and it's very refreshing. My heavy hitters for rosacea is gonna depend on what subtype you are. If you're a subtype 1, which is your more mild, you can get away with the Tranquility Cream and ChronoCalm, and that's really what's going to handle your rosacea. But anything other than a subtype 1, you really do need to add in the Rosie's Relief Cream for them, because that's their true solution to mitigating those flares. And for someone who's a subtype 1, when they're stressed or when they're sick, they may need Rosie's Relief, because whenever we're stressed or sick, our immune system decreases and we see a boom in the population of these mites.
And I think one of the things to notice too is the big point of differentiation between a subtype 1 and a subtype 2 is those papules and pustules. So we know that you can really differentiate your lower subtypes of rosacea from your higher subtypes when you're seeing that through your skin analysis. So that's when you know that it's really time to bring in the heavy hitters and really start to use the Rosie's Relief Cream at home.
Absolutely.
We just had a client come over and she's beautiful and brilliant, but when we mentioned the Demodex bug, she didn't know
No
what we were
clue.
talking about, and then you jumped right in. So how does the Demodex bug affect rosacea skin, and what are some of the signs and symptoms that it might be flaring up, and when is it time to actually use these products?
Great questions. So when we talk about the Demodex mite, really what's happening is that everyone has this mite on their skin. What's the difference between me, you, and a rosacea client? Well, that client is having a reaction to the byproduct or the debris of this mite. And so what we see is that they get a lot of inflammation, some papular activity, just a lot of discomfort, redness. So what we see is that that is when we want to start incorporating these products to help with the redness, help with the inflammation, also help to control some of that oil production, because that is why typically we see it in the T-zone area, because the Demodex mite loves to feed off of oil. So
Absolutely. And these are all packed with essential oils, botanicals. So it's not, some people that have rosacea, they're worried about harsh treatments or something causing irritation. And these are so incredibly gentle that it also reduces redness, but also creates an environment for healing and anti-inflammatory. So you can kind of get that healthy glow back without that irritation and redness.